In this episode, I'll show you how to improve your focus with 5 proven neuroscience-based tricks. Now, I've spent years studying the mind, focus, intelligence, capacity, and the ability to show up and perform when you need to. And there's 5 neuroscience-backed tricks that will just change the whole game for you, especially if you're a student or you work hard or you're focusing on a project or you need to just be fully present for something. So let's get into them. Number 1 is you need to optimize your dopamine cycles. What is dopamine? It's a neurotransmitter that plays a crucial role in your brain, in your focus, in your ability to have motivation, and your ability to complete tasks. So what happens if you don't optimize your dopamine cycles? If you just waste your dopamine? Well, how does it feel? It feels sluggish. You don't feel like doing anything. You don't feel motivated. And when you try and do stuff, you're just not at your best. And it's sort of like that. It's sort of like a hangover in your brain and body. There's just no energy there to really get after what you want to get after and to be, do, and have what you've decided you're hoping for and you're wanting for and you're driving for in your life. So dopamine is essential and we don't want to waste it. The way you optimize your dopamine cycles is by intentionally blocking out a bunch of things. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. But more importantly, it's about organizing your time and your focus and your energy and how you use your brain and where you pay attention to things, and then what you're doing so that you're actually prepared. Let's give you an example. Let's say you're going to take a test or you're giving a presentation for business, or you're actually going to a really important event where you want to show up and be your best self. If we spend time scrolling on Instagram, or if we spend time playing video games, or if we don't get enough sleep, or if we do a dozen different things that will reduce your dopamine, you're not going to be optimized in your dopamine and your brain neurology for when you get there and you need to perform and do your best. So the big picture for dopamine growth and strength and fullness is this. Number 1, regular exercise, especially in the morning, because remember that also builds BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which helps enhance your dopamine and your brain capacity and actually grows neurons in your brain. So your brain becomes stronger. It's like building a muscle in the gym. Second thing is get morning sunlight. So we know that early morning sunlight, when the sun is at a low angle in the sky and it's coming in the morning, 5 to 10 to 15 minutes of being outside, walking, drinking a cup of coffee or whatever, and getting that sunlight in your eyes, it's worked for millions of years in evolutionary biology. It will work for you to increase your dopamine and keep you strong in the brain, right? The next is cold exposure. If you can get exposure to cold, standing outside in cold weather, taking a cold shower, doing a cold plunge, any of these things where it's cold, especially sleeping in cold weather, right? Leaving the window open in cold weather, these things will actually help increase your dopamine and keep your dopamine high in your brain. Super key. And speaking of sleep, sleep is the number 1 thing you can do to keep your dopamine high. So high quality, really deep sleep for around 8 or more hours, depending upon your personal needs, is super key. Now, people say you can get away with less. You can maybe for a day or two, but overall you want consistent, high quality, deep sleep, and that's going to really boost your dopamine. There's 2 more things. One is called meditation. If you haven't done meditation practice, you can go online. You can find some easy videos on meditation. Learn to meditate. Spend just even 10 minutes a day makes a massive difference for your dopamine, calms your whole regulation system down, increases your dopamine. And the other is non-sleep deep rest. In other words, just every once in a while, take a minute to just relax, take a couple of really deep breaths, and just let your body and the stress and the tension fall away from your body, relieve your brain of that stress and tension. And what happens is your dopamine begins to go back up. The second neuroscience trick to improve your focus is to leverage your ultradian rhythms. Now, what are those? I hadn't even heard of them before I got into the research, and the deeper I dug, the more I was fascinated. So there are certain times of day when you have higher energy and where you have lower energy. When you have lower energy, it's not the time of day. Like for me, it's like between 2 and 4 p.m. That's when I go to the gym because my brain is just tired. So right, I don't try and force it and suck all the dopamine, all the energy out of my brain, all the focus. Instead, I go build my brain then. So early morning workout, late afternoon workout, superb for my brain. But my ultradian rhythm says I know that I work out best in my brain in the morning between 7 and 11, and then at night between about 8 o'clock and 11 o'clock. Those are my peak brain hours. So sometimes you'll see me doing a video and it's dark over here. That's because I was working at night and I was in that peak moment, right? Okay, and you can do it too. Now there's a second piece to these ultradian rhythms. It's not just the big cycles during the day. It's also that we work in cycles in our brain hour by hour. So a really good friend of mine, super high quality individual, amazing, brilliant guy, said this. He works for 45 minutes and then he takes 15 minutes off. Doesn't matter what he's working on. He does not continue to push through, right? He intentionally takes 15 minutes out of every hour. At the end of that 45, he takes 15 minutes and he breathes, he rests, he relaxes, he gets a little tiny snack. Maybe he goes outside, drinks a glass of water, looks up at the sun, changes his body, and then goes back into it for another 45 minutes. And he does that cycle after cycle because he knows that he has these mini cycles of 1 hour where he's got to take at least 15 minutes to maximize his rest and relaxation and then reset his energy and focus and go back in. Super smart. I do it. It works for me. I think you should try it. And what happens is if we try and just really push through and power it through and motor through it without taking those micro breaks or without focusing on what time of day we're really doing our big work, what happens is the quality of our focus declines. The quality of our work product declines. The quality of how we show up declines. And you'll feel it and you'll sense it and you'll know it if you run into it. And we all have, right? You can look back and say, oh, I should have taken a break, or I should have stopped working at midnight, whatever it is for you. Follow that feeling in your body and sensing that, follow your intuition, and you're going to have a lot more focus. Tune into your own Ultradian rhythms. Maybe it's 40 minutes and 20 for you. Maybe it's 50 and 10 minutes each hour. But whatever it is, test it out, try it out, and you'll find it. And what's going to happen is over time, your work product and your focus and your quality is going to go up and up and up, and you'll be more present and more capable and have that sharper focus. Number 3, take control of your autonomic nervous system. What does that mean? That means the part of your body that runs by itself, normally in the background, right? So what we want to do is we want to do 3 things to take advantage of what's already running for you. We just want to organize it and own our body and its own rhythms internally so that we can manage our state and increase our focus, right? So for example, if you're in fight or flight and you're freaked out by something, your focus goes way down. But if you're calm and present and relaxed, and your nervous system is in calm state, your focus goes up dramatically. Your cognitive capacity shifts from fight or flight in the back to the front, where it's cognition and awareness and judgment and sense making. And that's really important. So we want to make sure you do these 3 things really quick. I'm going to give them to you. There's a short video, number 1, you can see. We'll put a link to it down below on box breathing. And box breathing is the number 1 way to really take charge of your autonomic nervous system by regulating your breathing. The second is one I learned from Dr. Andrew Huberman. That's called the parasympathetic sigh. And it goes like this. It's 2 quick inhales through the nose and then 1 exhale through the mouth, like all the way in as hard as you can, down like that, and long sigh at the end. I'm giving it short to you right now because I want you to get it, but it's like, and really let the whole body relax. And you do 4 or 5 of those in a row with real intensity and intention. And what happens is you're resetting your system so that you're focusing and you're back in charge of your body. No longer fight or flight or stress. You're now in control, focus, calm, present awareness. And the last one here is something that we do sometimes. We don't know that we're doing it, and then we're not doing it. It's obvious, right? And that's breathing through your nose versus your mouth. When you're breathing through your mouth, it's like fight or flight, right? When you're breathing through your nose, like, right? So inhale through the nose. And some people even go to the extent of taping their mouth shut at night while they sleep, so they're only breathing through their nose, which really keeps you in that calm, rest, and relaxed state. So try those 3 things. Do the ones that work for you, test them out, and pay attention to how you feel. And your focus is going to shoot up through the roof, and you're going to be much more present and aware, and you're going to feel better doing it. The 4th neuroscience trick to increase your focus is dramatically reducing visual noise. Visual noise? What's visual noise? Well, it's clutter, it's distraction, it's beeps, it's whirring of machines, it's all kinds of things. When I'm in deep focus, I shut off my calendar so it can't ping. I shut off my phone so that it can't make any noises or calls. I turn off the phone I have over here, the extra old landline, because I've had the number for 30 years, right? I turn off the printer so no one else in the area can use the printer. I shut off everything possible so that I'm in deep quiet. And sometimes I just put the headphones on too, right? So you've seen people do this intuitively. You see the quintessential hacker or the guy working on code has the hoodie on, or working on a small business. It's got the hoodie on, it's got the laptop in front of him or her, and it's got like the hoodie, and it's all covered. And sometimes they have headphones, so they have quiet, and the visual stimulus is dramatically reduced focus to just this. And what I do is if I'm really focused, I have 3 screens here. I'll turn off 2 of them and work from just this one, because I only want this in front of my mind. What you see is what triggers your brain. If you're focused only on this, that's all you get. So when I was in college, I started out doing programming, which was really surprising, but I got so deep into it, I realized that I couldn't stay with it because I was doing 14, 18, 24 hours in the computer lab just working. And this was back in the 80s, so you can understand it. But we were in cubes. They put us in cubes so we couldn't see anything else. There was no noise but the whir of the air conditioning and there. So the focus was so deep that literally I forgot to eat or go to the bathroom for hours. Like I could drink 2 or 3 Diet Cokes and I'd forget that I had to get up and go because I was like so hyper focused on only this thing in front of me. Nevertheless, the point remains. When you decrease visual noise and you focus just on that one thing, your focus goes through the roof and you're able to be much more productive, much more capable, and much more aware of what you're trying to create and manifest. Number 5, sleep and recovery. Wait a minute. We all know that sleep and recovery are important. Why is this so important here? And how do we know it's true? Well, let me give you a story. So they did a study about 15 years ago where they restricted people to just 6 hours of sleep. And when I heard that, I was like, what do you mean just 6 hours of sleep? I used to go for years with just 6 hours of sleep. And who knows, I might have done so much better if I'd gotten 8. But here's what they found. For 10 days, they limited people to just 6 hours of sleep. And their performance dropped so dramatically and so radically compared to when they were getting 8 hours of sleep that it blew the researchers' minds. So they said, okay, now we need to understand, how long does it take to fully recover? So even after 3 full days of like 10 hours of sleep a day, after that 10 days of only 6 hours, they still were below where they were cognitively when they were getting 8 hours of sleep. So it takes a long time to recover. What does this mean? Well, even worse was the other study that said that people who get just like 4 hours of sleep in one night, it's the equivalent that next day of being drunk all day cognitively. So it's like you've had 3 or 4 beers equivalent of impact on your brain all day long when you just get 4 hours of sleep. That's how damaging this is to your ability to focus and function and perform at your highest. So what does this all mean? It means really simply that there's a real cost to not getting enough sleep. Even a little bit less sleep has a dramatic cost on focus. Here's one more study. They showed that when you turn the clocks forward by an hour, wherever they do this in the world, they can prove now that traffic accidents increase by 20 to 25% because people have lost just 1 hour of sleep. So it's the proven day where there's this massive experiment all across the country and all across the world, whenever they change the clocks to go forward, that people have dramatically more car accidents because their focus has declined by that much. They're not paying as much attention. It feels like they've had, too little sleep, and in fact they have. And it impacts their brain and their capacity, and they get in car accidents, and some of them are tragic. So even a little bit of lack of sleep and a little bit of lost focus has a huge impact on your life. So optimize your life by using these 5 hacks, these 5 tricks, so you can increase your focus, perform at your best, have the best experience, and make the impact that you want to make in the world. So now you've learned these 5 amazing hacks to increase your focus. And it's great to learn them and remember them, right? In fact, you can go through right now and write them down really quickly so you have them in your memory. But unless you use them, it's not going to make a difference. Hacks are only good when you put them into practice and make them part of your life, right? We don't want to have to use determination the whole time to, what were the 5 hacks I have to apply them today? No, you want to practice them and put them as routines in your life and habits so that they automatically happen. People say I have great self-discipline. I don't. I have great habits, and that's the difference. A habit means you don't have to have discipline because it's part of who you already are and it's what you're doing. So I'm going to encourage you, watch this video again, write down the 5 hacks, and then build them into your life because that will help you change your life. And also, what will help you change your life is changing your mind. When you change your habits, you're actually changing your mind. You're making them automatic, what they call automaticity in the brain, rather than having to remember what were those 5 habits I have to do today. Forget it. Change your mind, change your life. In fact, key tip. I wrote an ebook, a special ebook for you down there. It's called Change Your Mind, Change Your Life. You're going to love it. Go grab it. You can also find it at lifesuccesstools.com/change your mind, change your life. Actually, no, it's just change your life. Sorry. See, I don't have a habit of saying it yet. I have to have a habit. So a little bit of fun there at the end. I appreciate you guys so very much. Keep watching. Make sure to subscribe, like, and of these 5 super amazing focus neuroscience tricks, I want you to write down one you're doing now if you are, or the one you're going to commit to doing this week and making it a habit in your life.